Good evening and welcome to the Whiskey Lovers Society with me, Gert Retief, and tonight we are talking about new whiskey drinkers. Well, I don't really like the word of a newbie or a young whiskey drinker. It's a little bit condescending for me. Everybody starts a whiskey journey at some stage. And I think it is important that when you start that journey, it should be a journey that you start at the right place. And you don't jump off at the deep end in the pool and you get yourself a whiskey that you might have spent quite a lot of money on it. And you realize, and you've watched the videos, and everybody's super excited about this whiskey of the year, and everybody is in the pool and everybody is happy. You spend your hard-earned money and you buy yourself a bottle and you are shocked. You think to yourself, how the hell can anybody drink something like this? So for me, the journey, it's not a sprint, but it's a marathon, and we have to pick our selections very carefully. We need to take some things in consideration. Once you have done your homework, then you decide which whiskey you are going to buy. Now, I'm going to just do a little bit of a talk on how do I select a whiskey. How do I make sure that when I buy that whiskey, it is something that I am going to enjoy? Now, I am in a great place here in Belgium, in Brussels, and I have an opportunity to buy some very good samples from, well, a couple of stores now. It used to be almost impossible. I have now 4 or 5 shops in Belgium itself. There's one in France that I can buy at very cheap prices, as well as some other little secret places that I can get samples from. And of course it costs money, but you don't have to spend 200 euros on a bottle only to realize that you don't like it. Rather pay the 7, 8, 10 euros. I can try it and then I can decide if I want to spend my money on that specific bottle. Now, I've heard quite a lot of people saying their first experience was Lefroy 10-year-old. Now, if I started with a Lefroy 10, this channel would not exist. And there's no way that I would go further after tasting the Lefroy 10. Now, I had a really bad experience many years ago. I think it was in 2001, thereabouts. I came to visit a friend of mine here in Belgium, and he had this bottle in a smart velvet box, leather outside, soft on the inside, with a specific glass and a little, it looked fantastic. And he said he's not a whiskey drinker. Take it, drink it, see what you think. And I was excited. Art Beck 10-year-old, fresh. I opened the bottle and wow, I was shocked. I could not stand it. I could not understand why anybody would want to drink something like that. Now, luckily, my journey has started many years before that. I did have a good understanding of my palate, what I like, what I don't like. So if that was my first experience with whiskey, it would definitely have dampened the spirit a little bit. So when you start your journey, I would suggest to do some research first. Go look at all the channels. There are hundreds and hundreds of channels dedicated to whiskey. Now, it sounds easy, but it's not really that simple. I would suggest go look at the whiskey that you would like to buy. And that can be based on looks purely. You have some fancy bottles, you have some fancy packaging. Don't be fooled with that. Find yourself a whiskey that you might be interested in. Then go do some research. Where does it come from? Is it a single grain whiskey? Is it a single malt whiskey? Is it a whiskey that is colored? Is it a whiskey that is very low ABV, the alcohol by volume, with a 40% ABV? What is your palate? Do you like something that's sweet? Do you like something that's peated? But you might like a combination of a little something that's smoked and a little bit of a sweetness. Do you like sherry flavors? If you don't like sherry flavors, then that can remove quite a lot of your selections already. Do you like a light whiskey? Do you like a nice summery whiskey? Do you like something that tastes like apples and pears, summer fruit? Do you like a whiskey that maybe it's strong, bold, dark, dried fruit, Christmas cakey type of food? So make that decision that this is what I like. And of course, don't be fooled when it comes to the hype. There is so many people out there, and I've seen the videos myself. I've seen the raving about a specific whiskey. A whiskey you have to try. This is going to be a whiskey of the year for so many people. Then I said, well, I'm going to have to try it. I pay a lot of money and I buy the bottle. It comes, the excitement is there. You open it up and you pour yourself a dram and what the hell? This is definitely not something that I enjoy. When they tell you, yeah, but you need to give it at least until half the bottle is gone. When they tell you that the first neck pour is also going to be terrible. And when I think to myself, you know what? I just spent a lot of money on a whiskey that I'm not enjoying. And now people tell me I need to wait. Now, the neck pour, a lot of people are talking about it. I have a simple philosophy. If I spend a lot of money on a whiskey, I want to enjoy it from start to finish. I am not interested in a whiskey that needs to stand for 6 months, opened up, and then I can start enjoying it. Now, I am sure a lot of people can relate to that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that tells me that I am not patient enough. Well, you know what? It's my money. It's my time. And I don't have the time to sit and wait for something to become a better whiskey. And at what stage does it then go past that better whiskey to something that I again not enjoying? Rant over. But now you know my feelings about it. They do say one man's poison is another man's treasure. And this is definitely true when it comes to whiskey. And of course, we also need to talk about pricing. Don't be fooled by thinking a cheaper whiskey is not a good whiskey. There is fantastic whiskies out there at a reasonable price. And talking about price, that's one thing. You have to decide how much are you willing to spend on a bottle of whiskey. Once you have made that decision, stick to it. Because if you're going to go to a shop, especially in the retail brick shop, you walk in there and you see all this bells and whistles and all this lovely different shapes of bottles, the little boxes that looks like, well, I can show you when you look at the box, it is a substantial box. It opens up with magnets and sometimes very difficult with magnets, and it flips open and it gives you this whole experience of saying this is luxurious, this is luxury in a box. Solid box, must be very good. Sometimes not always the case. And I'm not going to mention names, but if you go to the Far East, they do tend to box something like it is precious gold. Well, sometimes when you open up that liquid, what is all that matters in the end, do I like it? And of course, you decide if it's good or not. And the last thing that I need to talk about is before you buy it, go try it out. Now, nowadays, you'll be quite surprised at how many pubs have this fantastic selection of whiskies that you can buy a sample and, well, buy yourself a dram and you can have a taste of, well, whatever they have in the pub. And of course, like I have fantastic places where I can buy samples. Also, if you have a good community, now the whiskey community on YouTube is fantastic. I can tell you, if you have any questions to any of these content creators, they will give you an answer, they will give you an honest answer. And of course, if you can get yourself a club together in your neighborhood, start swapping samples, it's a fantastic way of trying something before you buy it. Now on to tonight's whiskey. Now I picked 5 whiskies with an alternative as well, something that maybe just up the level a little bit. But I'm going to start off with something that I really love. This is a whiskey that I bought some time ago. I went through that first bottle quite fast. I picked up another one, and I'm now on the 4th bottle already. And this one is something that is really, for me, a beginner whiskey. A whiskey that is super friendly, super soft, super summery, and that fruity notes is that light summer fruited apple, pears, loveliness in it. And of course, I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me on this one. Campus Box. This is, of course, a blended malt whiskey sourced from different distilleries, Orchard House, Scotch whiskey, fragrant, sweet, balance on the label, and it is bottled at 46% ABV. Now, the ABV, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. When you talk ABV, 46 and higher for me is always a better option. And most of the time, there will be no chill filtration above 46% ABV. Now, there's a lot of people that's against it. A lot of people are okay with it. I'm not going to go into it. If you want to know more about the chill filtration, do a little bit of research. Now, this one for me is walking down an orchard, and you're getting all that orange and blossoms, apple blossoms, all the summery notes in the glass. It's light and it's friendly. Definitely something that I would pick up if I was a beginner and never tasted any whiskey. That will give me a good start. The next one as an alternative, a little bit more expensive, but the same fruity components. Definitely going to have to look at a Glencadam. This is the 13-year-old Glencadam. Look at that light color. It's almost a very light straw color. As you can see, I quite enjoy this one as well. 13 years old. This is a batch variation. This batch number 3. They even give you a little bit of the bottle 4028 of 5994. So quite a lot of them. And Glencadam, you can go, well, the 10-year-old as well. Fantastic, similar notes, very light and friendly, and it just ups the little bit of your starting point for a no age statement, and you move your way up to the 25-year-old Glencadam. Now I can tell you, I did a review on almost all of them, all the age statements up to 25. Oh, they are fantastic whiskies. But remember your budget. stick within the budget and begin, and then you work your way to something more expensive and sometimes a little bit better. Now that you have started your journey, and I know everybody is curious, and the curiosity killed the cat. Well, hopefully not. Now, the next one I'm going to talk about is a little bit of the peated ones. Now, peat for me is a real love-hate relationship. But I found so many peated whiskies that is more towards the friendly side of the whiskey, more for people that's in the beginning side of peated whiskey. You're not going to jump in with the Lefroy. I know I keep on weighing on them. I cannot stand a 15-year-old Lefroy. It's like walking into a hospital for me. Now, I had a terrible experiences with hospitals in my life. That's the first thing that comes to mind, and that experience just destroys most of the peated whiskies for me. So this one was also one of those whiskies. I think I saw it first on Aquavite, and he was he was raving about the Lejack 10 years old. And so I pulled the trigger. I know Ralphie is also a big fan of Lejack 10. If you look at the online Scotch Whisky Awards, they always talk about Lejack. The 18-year-old seems to be now the big choice of the one to be picked. But of course, I haven't pulled that trigger yet. Now, this is a single malt. It's 10 years old from the Tobermory distillery, and it is bottled at 46.3% ABV, natural color, non-filtered, all the lovely stuff in it, and there's a little bit of a sherry component to it. It is just a lovely, light, friendly, sweet, smoky whiskey. Well, a big mouthful, but something that I really liked. This is, I think, bottle number 3 already. So if I am at bottle number 3, that means I did like it and I can recommend it. Remember, when you decide to follow a YouTuber, make sure that the nosing and palate is something that relates to what you like as well. You can watch the other people, you can see their opinion, but once you say you pick my channel, you like and share and subscribe my content, you know that my tasting is a lot similar to you. If I tell you that this bottle is disgusting, then you might think to yourself, if he doesn't like it, I'm sure I'm not going to like it as well. That makes life a little bit easier. Now, once you have decided to go the peated route, you found your Lejack, or even a Loch Lomond. Loch Lomond peated whiskies are also very kind. You move and you want to dip your toes in a big pool. You want to go to the deep end, you can go to Lefroy's 10, Ardbeg 10, you can go Octomore. Funny enough, Octomore is the highest ppm parts per million on the phenols, that's smokiness. I do like them, but of course, the credit card hates them. They are bloody expensive for a no age statement whiskey. Now, if you want to go a little bit further, this is something that I would recommend in the peated section. This is like the combination with the lightness, the fruity flavors, that appley note, a little bit of a briny note, a little bit of a lemony note comes in, a little citrus note coming in, 8-year-old. Now, the only thing is bloody expensive. This one, I think, was about 120 odd euro for the bottle, but I did like it. And for me, it is an upscale for peated whiskey, more peat, but it was quite a drinkable one. This one, if I can see it correctly, the eyes are not so good. This one is bottled at 59.7. So a high ABV whiskey. Now, this is what I love. I like a high ABV whiskey. It's my decision How do I want to dilute it? Do I want to add water? How much water do I add? If a couple of drops at a time. Get yourself a book, write down. I'm drinking this one tonight. I'm putting 5 drops of water on so many milliliters. And next time, automatic. You pour it, drops of water, you drink it the way you want. So definitely something I would recommend. Now the next one, and I have to talk about these ones. I am South African, now living in Belgium, and I have to talk about Bain's whiskey. Now, if you want super sweet whiskey, if you like single grain whiskies, this one is made by corn from South Africa, real yellow corn, or I call it the sun-kissed corn of South Africa. And when I talk about Bain's whiskey, now this is the 15-year-old. I did a review on this one. If you go look for it, all of the bottles that I'm showing you now, there is a review if you want more information. Now this is bottled at 52.5% ABV. This is a special release. I found this at a duty-free shop, and well worth the price. I think I paid only 43 euros for 1 liter of a 15-year-old. I think it is a bloody good price. And if you like that bourbon type notes, if you like sweet corn whiskey notes, this is definitely the one that I would suggest you try. And of course, if you want to upscale it a little bit, and you are a whiskey lover with some super sweet Pedro Ebenez combination, I would then tell you, go try this one. This is the Bain's 18-year-old PX cask finish. This is bottle number 330 of 1,900 of them. 50.5% ABV. There's also a special release that you can find at, well, quite a lot of the duty-free shops. I see you can find it. Look at the color of this one. Oh my word. If you are diabetic, I suggest smaller ones because this is a super sweet whiskey. The next category, and most people know that I do like a sherried whiskey. I like a sweet whiskey. I like a whiskey that has got a lot of depth, a lot of flavor, a lot of Christmas cake in a glass type of whiskey. So if that is your palate, your nose, I think you will love my channel. And of course, please remember to like, share and subscribe. We have 75 children that we are looking after in South Africa. And for almost 9 years already, we've been trying to make sure that they have enough food to eat. And the idea became, well, a fantastic idea to take my ad revenue. If you like, share and subscribe, watch the channel. That small amount of ad revenue, not much, we send it everything to South Africa to buy food, and of course the super chats, the community page, and all of those, PayPal, Patreon, you name it, I have it. If you want to contribute some money, by all means, 100% go toward food. So the next level for me, I like high ABV whiskies. I like the control that it gives me. I like the Pedro Ebenez, Oloroso Sherry, and if you combine the two, you are hit with Glenallachie 10-year-old. Now this is something that I can recommend for the people that love that super sweet whiskies, that sherry whiskies. This is a cask strength, meaning it comes out of the cask into a bottle. There's no adding water to it, there's no dilution, there's just everything that you like in the whiskey. This is 58.2% ABV. this is a batch release, so each one will be a little bit different. Every year they come out with a new one, and sometimes it looks like Coca-Cola of all the darkness that comes in it. So definitely something. This is batch number 3. Every year they bring a new version out of it. Billy Walker from the Glenallachie distillery, he knows his casks, and he can make yourself, well, he can make something that is, oh my word, I want it, and I keep on buying them. Yeah, it's a vicious cycle, because once you get hooked on Glenallachie, there's no stopping, and every year you are just fascinated. I have to have it. So be careful. If you start with this one, there's not going to be an end. Now the alternative to this Glenallachie, and this is something that one of my friends gave me as a gift some time ago. This is something that I treasure. Anton, one of my best friends here in Europe, he used to, well, he's a big fan of whiskey. He's got a nice collection himself, and this is an independent bottled whiskey. Now, independent bottled whiskies, for me, sometimes it's so much better than what the distillery will bottle themselves. They take a barrel of whiskey, they store it, they mature it themselves. A Delphi selection. This was from the Ben Rinnes 10-year-old, and I've tried the Ben Rinnes by itself. It was okay, but once I've tried this one, this independent bottled Ben Rinnes, oh my word, it is fantastic. 53.2% ABV, natural color, non-chill filtered, upping the level for me sometimes. But be careful, try it before you buy it. Now the last one, I did say in the thumbnail, I'm going to talk about 5 of them. So I gave you 5 plus an alternative. Well, at this stage, 4 plus an alternative. And then 1, I'm going to have no alternative. Well, I can suggest an alternative, but you're going to have long arms, and it needs to reach right deep into the pockets, and then you pick out a Springbank. Now this is something for me completely different. There's a smokiness to it, there's a sherry component to it, there's a bloody expensive price tag to it. This one, well, probably not that bad. It was 88 euros for 10-year-old. It's bloody expensive. Once you go for a 10-year-old gas strength, oh my word, I don't even want to think about it, because I want to drink it, I want to buy it. I've tried the 15, the 17, the 18, the 21 years old. My word, they are really good. And well, bloody expensive. The alternative for this 10-year-old, well, you can go higher, and I will tell you that it's really good. It's a different, they call it a Springbank Funk. I'm not sure about the Springbank Funk, because I'm not talking a funkiness. Funkiness is stinky, not right. It's just a different note, and great cask management. There's not a lot of bitterness to it. It is a sweet whiskey, it's a peated whiskey, and it's something that I would definitely recommend. Save up a little bit, and start with the 10-year-old, 88 euro. I'm sure you might get it a little cheaper. Belgian prices are just absolutely ridiculous. So that is me on my 5+ alternative whiskies for beginners. I hope you enjoyed this little segment, and of course, if you have, please remember to like, share and subscribe, and I see you next time. Cheers.